Do you want more? More time, more balance, more love, more sex, more money, more real, and less bullshit? This is the Women Wanting More podcast with Dr. Karen Osborne. Real life, real stories, plus real tips to get you more of what you want.
Hey sister, so I have a confession to make for you, or to you. So I was on a call with my coach today and talking about things with my coaching business, which has been like amazing of the last year a little bit, like amazing. A year ago, as he reminded me, it was like, Karen, where were you a year ago? I'm like, well, I was in practice and network marketing business. I was just starting to coach. He's like, and what was it that you wanted a year ago? I'm like, well, I wanted to be completely all in with coaching. Like I just absolutely loved it and was ready to leave chiropractic and I wasn't sure about network marketing. And he's like, and where are you now? I'm like, exactly where I wanted to be. Now it wasn't like what's your problem? You got what you wanted, right? It was just like, there were so many directions for me to go with my message. There are so many amazing things that I can do with technology, including this podcast. There's so many different things that I can do to really help reach you, sister. But it's kind of like with kids, if you give them too many choices, like it's just too much, right? If you give anybody too many choices, whereas if you go with your kids, say, do you want this or that? Do you want this one or that one? It's easier, right? You can just go, okay, this or this. With being an entrepreneur and being able to communicate a message and getting, clear on really what I want to do with my vision, it's like, would you like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K? Like there's just so many fucking options, again, which is amazing. But I found myself saying to him, I feel like when I think of like what I truly want now with Women Wanting More, with this message, with this podcast, with this movement, is I don't know. And it was a true I don't know, not a I don't know, which is often kind of like just what my coach would call a hide behind activity, saying, well, I don't know, when you're just not being honest, right? It's like you do know, you're just afraid to say, or you think you don't know it, or you think you're just not certain. But it was a truly like I don't know. I said, honestly, when I think of it, I see like a blank page. And he goes, that's incredible. And in my head, I'm thinking, fuck you. But I had certainty and I had more clarity and like, where did it fucking go? And this is the reason I'm sharing this with you, is that I feel just like you do, sister, at times where you think that you've kind of got it all figured out, right? You think you've got it all together, whether that's with your marriage or with your business or with your health or with how you parent. Then suddenly you may wake up the next day and you're like, what the fuck is going on? I don't feel that same clarity. I don't feel that same certainty. I don't feel that same decisiveness about where I'm going and what I want out of all of this. And how I can really, specifically for me with this message is really like, how can I provide value to you and all the women that are listening to this podcast, which is increasing more and more and more and more. This past week alone, I'm recording this on a Friday. So from Monday to Friday, there's been, I think just a little bit shy of 14,000 downloads of the podcast. Like, it is just growing in leaps and bounds, which is exciting and amazing. And this is awesome. I love it. But where do I go from here now? How do I really reach you? See, I started kind of saying like, I just want to do this kind of coaching. And that was fine. And that kind of worked at the time. I started doing one-on-one, and then I went to groups. And then I said, now I'm going to only do live events. And then I had a live event, and I have one that's actually coming up in 2 days. And the live events at this intensity 2.5 days are fantastic, like fantastic. But I know that's not an option for a lot of you, either financially or time-wise. You got to arrange time to be away from kids and business and husband. And, I get it, because I go through the process every time that I'm away as well, too. Like, it's not easy. It's difficult, right? You often kind of have to move your world. And if you really want to do it, you'll make it happen. But it's still the reality for a lot of women. I'm like, okay, so what can I begin to do? What can I offer? How can I serve? How can I provide the most value that will really help everybody, right? Whether that's from, I kind of test a little bit with some Facebook groups and a 30-day marriage challenge. I've got a book that I'm going to be putting up the next month. That's another way. Like, what are the other ways? There's a 1-day live event I'm going to do about May or June when we had 1 million downloads of his podcast. Like, that's another way. But yet there's so many choices in front of me. It's like, I feel it's like a blank page. It's a blank page, right? So here's what's beautiful, and here's what my coach pointed out to me, and here's what I'll point out to you, is that if right now in your life you're feeling that similar place, and everybody feels that. By the way, if you know somebody who is like a coach or a mentor, or, you know, maybe a boss or your husband or a friend that goes, they will put out the messaging that they always know what's going on. They're always clear. They're always bull fucking shit. That is not the way it works. It's just not. You're going to have days where you feel like, what the hell am I doing? You're going to have days where you just be like, you know what? I'm done. And that could be with marriage. That could be with your business. That could be with your health. Like, just like, you know what? I'm just tapping out. This is too difficult. I don't want to have to work this hard. Like, not even work this hard. It might even be, you know, for me, I think if I started this online journey 5 years ago, I'm just like, dude, shouldn't this be bigger than what it is right now? Like, shouldn't it be like this and it's like that? And not that I'm complaining or not grateful by any means, but it's just, I have this should of how it should be, and I'm just, you know, shitting the fuck all over myself with that, right? So if you're going through a time in your life right now too, where you're just like, man, I don't see it. I don't see it. Like, it's just kind of like a blank page there. Amazing. Because I'll tell you what's incredible about this, for me, is that I don't have to see things as a black or white, or here's the plan all in place. I get to create and design it however the fuck I want. And you get to do the exact same thing, sister. The exact same thing. And what I realized is I have so much input coming into me that I really just need to take some time and space and to create a timeline of myself, even though, yeah, timeline's going to move you. But there's some things like figuring things out that just simply take time. It takes space. It takes inquiring. It takes journaling. It takes asking myself certain questions and journaling about it and seeing what's coming up. It doesn't take listening to more of my podcasts. It doesn't take reading another book. It doesn't take asking more people for information and input. Like, the thing is that even for me sometimes, sister, and this is going to sound crazy for me to admit, but this is just the honest fucking truth, and this is how I roll. Even for me at times, I forget to listen inward. I forget that I have all the answers inside of me. I forget that I can truly design whatever it is the hell I want it to be, and that even for me, who knows this message really well and lives this, and has lived this for a while, that there's no limits. But yet I found myself today when my coaches asked me, well, what do you truly want? And it was like, well, I want this, but I can't really make it happen. Because, you know, kids, my husband's not well a lot of days and blah, 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 right? It was like thinking I had to have the how figured out before I figured out the what. Or before I decide that the what is actually an achievable thing that I want. And yeah, you got to be realistic. But the same standpoint, it's like, if you want what you want, go get what you fucking want. Go make it happen. And it may not be when you want it to happen. It may not be at that timeline. And as my brilliant husband pointed out to me today, it was just like, he was like, you know, we look at all these things that have occurred within our life. Each thing was to get to the next level, to get to the next place, to get to the next deeper part of purpose, really. Each thing. My last podcast was to train me for this one. The previous things that I tried with blogging and messaging and, you know, writing and really starting to understand myself better and to understand how to reach people better and to understand how to just be like vulnerable, because it's not a skill that you can like, oh, let me just take a course and I'll learn how to do this shit. No, like, it takes time. Every single thing has brought me to here, which is incredible. So if you are at, well, let's just go right into more tip. Where do you feel right now that you just like, you don't know where the direction is of where it is you want to go? It feels you just see this blank page inside your mind. So here's your more tip. It's really fucking easy. Be okay with that. Be okay with that. You don't have to figure out the answer tomorrow or next week or a month from now or 10 months from now. Now, if it's something you want to start to see, like, what is it that I want to see? What is it that I want in my marriage? What is it that I want in my business? What is it I want with my health, with my kids? Like, it's not going to happen just by you doing shit. Just know that. But You can start the process of really, journaling each day, like inquiring, like, what do I truly want? Let me write this out for the next week. Like, what do I want? What do I want in my marriage for 7 days? You could do the next 7 days. What do I want with my health? The next 7 days, what do I want with my business? Like, start to ask these questions. Tony Robbins has some amazing quotes. And, one of them was kind of like, it really comes down to the quality of the questions. And if you're not getting the results you want, you need to ask yourself better questions. So here's if we can say a quote unquote wrong question, sister, ask yourself, why can't I do this? Why am I such an idiot? Why can't I fucking get it right? Why do I keep failing all the time? Why doesn't he know what I want? Why don't my kids ever listen to me? See, those are not the best questions to ask. They're questions, but they're not going to really get you what you're looking for. Whereas questions like, what do I truly want? Like, what really lights me up? What gets me excited to get out of bed in the morning? And why do these things matter to me? And am I willing to commit to doing whatever it takes to get what I want? So if you see a blank page, it's okay, sister. Be okay with that. Because the beautiful piece of that is you get to create it to be whatever the hell you want it to be. I'm going to let you sit in this pause, this silence for a moment and just really, listen to this one back a couple times. It is okay to be in that place of like, I don't know where I'm going. It's okay. Cool. And maybe what you can do, what I'm going to do for myself, the best that I can, is just create a little bit more space for myself. It's like, if you want something so badly, you want someone to really like you, you want this certain project to really be done. Like sometimes if we hold on to something so hard, it's like, it's not going to happen. It's like desperation, right? Whereas at times, if you've done the work that's required to get the things you want, then you at times just have to surrender and let that shit go. Like just surrender to it, right? Surrender to it. There's going to be a lot of things I'll be sharing in the upcoming podcast episodes from my live event, which is actually in 2 days. And there's a lot of things already that have come up, and I will be sharing all the bits and pieces with you along the way, sister. So to make sure that you get updates on all of the episodes and stay in communication with the Women Wanting More Sisterhood and Tribe, including all the details about the million download massive party / live event / first annual Women Wanting More, I don't know what we're going to call it yet. Kickoff, convention, it's going to be big. It's going to be, I was thinking of, having about 30 women. Now I'm thinking I want to be like 100, 150. Just make this accessible for you all to be there and to come out and really be, this is like a gathering. Like get to meet the other listeners that are listening all around the world. Like how incredible would that be? To meet and connect, have a one-day event. Just really start to understand yourself better. You want more? Be around women that are like you too. This is the first step, and you get to be a day with me. There'll be VIP tickets and seats and special things. And so here's what I want you to do. Head over to drkarenosborn.com, drkarenosborn.com. You'll see the pop-up that comes for you to enter your name and email. So make sure to do that if you don't already subscribe to the newsletter. And then that way you're going to get first dibs, because this kind of stuff is going to go fast, sister. Like I haven't done a live event like this before. I've done very high ticket ones. This will be one that's a very low ticket. It will be accessible and available to everybody. Most likely will be in Vancouver, which is across the ocean from where I'm in here on Vancouver Island, Victoria, BC. And major international airport, can easily get out to. And we're going to have an incredible time. It's going to be May, June. So that, as well as my upcoming book, as well as the podcast episodes, as well as how I connected with the Women Wanting More Sisterhood and Tribe daily. So that's over at drkarenosborn.com. Enter your name and email when you see the pop-up with me in the orange and the black top. And we'll get you all connected on that. So I will talk to the next episode, sister. A life of more is just one step away from me doing the fucking work every single day. I love and appreciate you.
To get the show notes of each Women Wanting More episode, including the How to Get More tip, subscribe to the newsletter at drkarenosborn.com/newsletter.